Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel, and this is the next video in the Casey Anthony trial, and the next witness is Detective Yuri Melitch. So July 2008 he was a corporal at the Missing Persons Child Abuse Unit. Prior to that he worked in the Homicide Division. On the 16th of July 2008 he received the call from Reginald and responded to that call. He arrived at 3:51 AM and met with Casey. He became aware that Casey had given a written statement. He was given the statement and made sure to ask Casey that that was her statement, and she agreed to it. So the state handed over the statement to Yuri and asked him to read it out for the court. It says, on Monday, June 9, 2008, between 9 AM and 1 PM, I, Casey Anthony, took my daughter, Kaylee Marie Anthony, to her nanny's apartment. Kaylee will be 3 years old August 9, 2008. She was born on August 9, 2005. Kaylee is about 3 feet tall, white female, with shoulder-length light brown hair. She has dark hazel eyes, brown-green, and a small birthmark on her left shoulder. On the day of her disappearance, Kaylee was wearing a pink shirt with jean shorts, white sneakers, and her hair was pulled back in a ponytail. On Monday, June 9, 2008, between 9 AM and 1 PM, I took Kaylee to the Sawgrass Apartments, located on Conway Road. Kaylee's nanny, Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez, has watched her for the past year and a half to 2 years. Zenaida is 25 years old and is from New York. She is roughly 5 feet 7 inches tall, 140 pounds. She has dark brown curly hair and brown eyes. Zenaida's birthday is in September. I met Zenaida through a mutual friend, Jeffrey Michael Hopkins. She has watched his son, Zachary Hopkins, for about 6 months to a year. I met Zenaida in 2004 around Christmas. On the date listed above, June 2008, after dropping Kaylee off at Zenaida's apartment, I proceeded to head to my place of employment, Universal Studios, Orlando. I have worked at Universal for over 4 years. Since June of 2004, I left work at around 5 PM and went back to the apartment to pick up my daughter. However, after reaching the apartment, I realised that neither Zenaida, Kaylee, or either of her 2 roommates were home. I have briefly met Raquel Farrell and Jennifer Rosa on various occasions. After calling Zenaida to see where she and Kaylee were, and when they were coming home, I waited outside the apartment and had called Zenaida earlier that morning prior to bringing Kaylee over for the afternoon. When I called her that afternoon, her phone was no longer in service. 2 hours passed, and around 7 PM I left the apartment and headed to familiar places that Zenaida would go with Kaylee. One of Kaylee's favourite places is J. Blanchard Park. I spent the rest of that evening pacing and worrying at one of the few places I felt at home, my boyfriend Anthony Lazzaro's apartment. For the past 4 weeks since Kaylee's disappearance, I have stayed at Anthony's apartment in Sutton Place. I have spent every day since Monday, June 9, 2008, looking for my daughter. I have lied and stolen from my friends and family to do whatever I could by any means to find my daughter. I avoided calling the police or even notifying my own family out of fear. I have been and still am afraid of what has or may happen to Kaylee. I have not had any contact with Zenaida since Thursday, June 12, 2008. I received a quick call from Zenaida. Not once have I been able to ask her for my daughter or gain any information on where I can find her. Every day I have gone to malls, parks, any place I could remember Zenaida taking Kaylee. I have gone out and tried to find any information about Kaylee or Zenaida, whether by going to a popular bar or restaurant. I have contacted Jeff Hopkins on several occasions to see if he had heard from or seen Zenaida. Jeff currently lives in Jacksonville, Florida. On Tuesday, July 15, 2008, around 12 PM, I received a phone call from my daughter Kaylee. Today was the first day I had heard her voice in 4 weeks. I'm afraid of what Kaylee is going through. After 31 days, the only thing that matters is getting my daughter back. With many and all attempts to contact Zenaida, and within the one short conversation on June 12, 2008, I was never able to check on the status or well-being of my daughter. Zenaida never made an attempt to explain why Kaylee is no longer in Orlando or if she is ever going to bring her home. So, when Yuri arrived at the Anthony's home, he looked at Casey's statement. He wanted to review it with her, so she agreed, and they went to a spare bedroom to review it, and this part was recorded. They now start playing the recording.
And who was this babysitter?
Her name is Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez.
Do you know how to spell the first name?
Zenaida.
And where was Zenaida's? Where did you drop your child off?
The Sawgrass.
The one thing I notice is that she sounds very calm, and you really wouldn't know that her daughter had been missing for so long, and the fact that she is just telling lie after lie after lie after lie.
4 years Christmas this year.
And where did you meet her? Who did you meet her through?
A mutual friend. His name is Jeffrey Michael Hopkins. I met him at Nickelodeon at Universal, and I met her through him.
And it's just so scary how she's keeping these lies straight. She's not slipping up. She's so confident. She's believable. It's just crazy. I mean, these lies have been going since 2004. So, 4 years of constantly telling lies. She's obviously built up a confidence with telling these lies because no one's called her out, even though they might have thought, that doesn't sound right. No one's come at her about it, so she's obviously got confident and just carried on with it.
Kids, she agreed, and they kind of went from there.
Before Zenaida started watching over your child, who was the nanny?
Her name was Lauren Gibbs, Gibbs.
And when did Lauren?
And she's telling the police all this, knowing damn well they're going to check everything that she's saying, knowing that when they find out it's all lies, it's going to make her look guilty as hell. I mean, and they obviously do find out everything's a lie. And she didn't tell many people Kaylee was missing, and the 3 people that she did tell were Jeff, Zenaida's mother, Gloria, and Juliet Lewis, who are all imaginary people. And then when she's asked about the phone numbers, they've either changed the numbers, she can't remember it. It's just mind-blowing how easy this is for her, how easy it just all flows. So, when they'd finished the statement recording, they went out to check these places that Casey had told him about, and the first one they went to was 301 North Hillside. They just drove past the building, and Casey pointed out which apartment it was that Zenaida and her family had lived in, and it comes out that Ricardo Morales and Amy Heisinger lived opposite this building. They then went to the Sawgrass apartments. He asked Casey to point out which apartment it was that she dropped Kaylee off at, and again it was apartment 210. They didn't get out of the car. They then went to Conway, which was a block of townhouses and apartments, and this was one of the places Casey had said that Zenaida had lived at, and she'd dropped Kaylee off there numerous times. Again, Casey wasn't sure which house it was, which apartment it was, so Yuri got out of the car and explained he would knock on a few doors, and if she recognised anyone, to let him know. Surprise, surprise, she didn't recognise anyone. This was about 6 a.m. in the morning. They didn't go anywhere after that. He drove her home, let her get out of the car, and said he would continue to look for Kaylee. Yuri then left, and he would begin an investigation based on the information that Casey had given him. So the cross-examination. There was a comment made about the odour coming from the car. He didn't expect the car, and he didn't find it necessary to secure the car. So was this odour as bad as what everybody had said? If so, why was this car not more of a focus? Upon arrival, Casey was not a suspect, but there is a discrepancy between her being handcuffed or not. He is asked if he said if he asked a deputy to uncuff her because he didn't know she was cuffed, but he can't say either way. Casey wasn't given a Miranda warning prior to the recording because she was not considered a suspect. She was just the mother of a missing child. In the report, the detective wrote that what she had told him, it did seem suspicious, although he can't remember what he thought at the time. I mean, his main focus is the fact that this 3-year-old girl has been 2.5-year-old girl had been missing for 4 weeks. So obviously he was just gathering information and wanting to try and find her as quickly as possible. Baez is going over the interview with Yuri and Casey. He's trying to pick holes in it, but in my opinion, he's not doing a very good job of it. He's, you know, it's an initial interview. He was just gathering information. He wasn't thinking that Casey was a suspect either way. He was just gathering information. So that was a bust, Baez. Sorry, but it was. So that's the end of this video. I will be back with more in the Casey Anthony trial. So until then, bye for now.